Anthony's a bitch.
Okay.
You slept with I said I heard. Cuckoo.
We're all talking at the same time. Exhausted.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Miami, Season 5, Reunion Part 3. Once again, this was an amazing season. This was a fantastic reunion. The girls were giving what the other girls were supposed to have gave, in the words of the iconic Rolling Ray. But y'all, without further ado, let's just jump right on into it. And you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. But we start this last part off with Kiki revealing that she knew lots of ladies and lots of model friends who were sleeping with Lenny. Lisa says that now that they're getting a divorce, everything's coming out. She's not surprised. While they were married, she would hear rumblings about Lenny cheating, but she brushed it off, talking about people are jealous of her and they want to break up her happy home, and that's why she never paid it any attention. Now, Lisa, going forward, please know that everybody can't be wrong. And again, it is really sad that you were in heavy denial, where you were trying to say, well, folks are jealous, it's not true. Girl, stop. He has all these crazy parties with all these women in the house. And honestly, Lisa, your poor sex life for 15 years was a dead giveaway that he was probably cheating. I'm still not over the fact that you guys are only having sex once a week or once every other week. Like, girl, what? Andy reads a viewer question asking Lisa, was she okay with having all these women at these parties? And Lisa says no. She was uncomfortable with it, but Lenny would gaslight her and tell her that she was insecure and that he should be allowed to throw these parties and have other friends. Andy points out how much love and how blessed she was to have all these ladies by her side. Larsa was a witness in one of the trials. Remember that Lenny's girlfriend / mistress put a restraining order out on Lisa, and Lisa had to fight that in court. So Larsa was a witness saying it's not true at all. Lisa has not harmed this woman or attacked this woman in any way, and she's lying. So because of Larsa's testimony, the judge threw the whole case out, and now Lisa is free and clear, and there is no more restraining order. Now, I just want to know, how sick of a person are you? The fact that you are with a married man and you have the audacity to get a restraining order against the wife who has yet to do anything to you, you really have some balls on you. But Lisa adds that she does want to get married again. And in all honesty, I really want Lisa to work on her self-esteem. I want her to develop a life outside of having a man. Because when she said, I just want somebody to love me back, I was like, sis, you have to love yourself first. And I know that sounds so cliche. People say it all the time, but it really is true. And I just hope that going forward, Lisa's really working on herself. Because the fact that she put up with so much crap and so much BS from Lenny is really sad. So they changed gears in the conversation, and Andy reads a viewer question addressing Alexia and Nicole making up, but this viewer wants to know if Todd and Anthony have made up. Remember how they got into that argument at the Gringo dinner? So Alexia says, well, funny story. We saw them during Art Basel. They're at Carbone, and Anthony was running his mouth acting like Antonia instead of Anthony. Now, I said, Alexia, Nicole is a lot nicer than I am, because I would have checked you right then and there. And again, Nicole, you are way too nice. You let a lot of stuff slide. Alexia continues on by saying that Anthony was disrespectful. He was saying that the only people who have real jobs are him and Nicole. I was so happy when Nicole jumped in. She said, now, Andy, that's not what happened. Yes, we were at Carbone, but that's not how it went down. Me and Anthony were at the bar, minding our business, when Alexia and Todd walked in, and Alexia said, oh, you guys are in trouble because Anthony's running his mouth talking all this stuff about the other women. So Nicole says all Anthony said was, what? What are you talking about? He was confused. So of course, every time you have somebody air out Alexia's lies, she starts trying to overtalk people. So she's like, no, that's not true. I hate a man who talks about women. So now you have Larsa talking about Anthony's a bitch. And again, Nicole, there's no way that I would have let that slide. I cannot stand the fact that Alexia and Larsa run their mouths about people, say whatever they want. Then when somebody checks them, then it's a problem. Now you want to call Anthony a bitch? It reminds me a lot of how there were some viewers talking about Chris Bassett was out of line for yelling at Giselle. And again, he had every right. Because this woman is sitting up here trying to ruin his reputation with false allegations, talking about he made her feel uncomfortable. I just don't like how they're calling this man a bitch and saying that he's like a girl. I don't think that Anthony was disrespectful. He didn't curse at Alexia. He didn't curse at Larsa. He made a few jokes about Larsa being a homewrecker, and that was that. And also at that dinner, he went at it with Todd. He didn't get nasty with Alexia, so for her to act like, I don't like men who argue with women, he never argued with you, sis. He argued with your man. You were the one getting loud at him and cursing at him. I would have clocked the both of them on that chair. Don't you ever call my man out of his name. And I would have really checked Larsa. Like, girl, you're sitting up here dating your ex-husband's former teammate's son at your big age. Larsa is a whole clown. So now Andy's like, look, I don't want to get into all this. Let's change topics. So he reads a viewer question addressing Larsa about her braids. And Larsa always gets defensive every time she's called out because she's talking about, well, no, it's not cultural appropriation because I'm not white and I have a braider that comes and braids my kids' hair every 10 days. And Larsa truly is a dummy because the question was, do you think that it's cultural appropriation? They're not asking you about how often your braider comes in. You just always find a way to deflect. And Kiki, I was annoyed with you because when Andy asked you your opinion, all you said was, oh, well, it doesn't matter. You can rock whatever you want to rock as long as it looks good. And Kiki, I went up for you all throughout this season. I still do like you, but I do feel like you are trying to be up Larsa, Marysol, and Alexia's asses, and it is annoying. I feel like you're a bit too thirsty to be in with the cool girls because you seem to be a yes man to them, and I'm really getting irritated by that. You can be their friend and still call them out when they're wrong. I'm just saying. So now you have Andy bringing up their spiritual healing in the Bahamas. Kiki said that she loved it because she has a lot going on in her life. She says that her life is hard. She's a single mom. She has no help. She has 2 children. Her modeling career is up and down. Some months she's booked and busy. Other months she doesn't have a job. So now Andy brings up the stones that Julia gave everybody, and he wants to know, why did Marysol throw her stones over the balcony? So Marysol says, look, it wasn't because I have anything against Julia. I just didn't want any stones from anybody. I don't want anybody's energy attached to me. That's the reason why. So now you have Adriana interject. So Marysol says, Adriana, first off, you're Brazilian. Now when Marysol said that, I said, girl, what? That sounded a bit racist to me for you to say that. That's a very nasty stereotype to act like all Brazilians are into witchcraft. I just had a really funny taste in my mouth when Marysol said that to Adriana. And even Adriana was taken aback by that comment. Like, girl, what are you trying to say? Marysol and Alexia definitely let those microaggressions slip out. And shout out to you guys for pointing out what Alexia really meant in the second part of the reunion when she told Adriana, you wish that you were blonde like me. I didn't even catch that until you guys told me. The way I screamed when Andy dismissed Kiki and he was like, wait, Kiki, before you go, we have something for you. He brings out this Burger King Whopper, and the way my mouth started watering. So now Julia interjects and she says, before you go, Kiki, I want to tell you that I'm sorry and you're a sweet girl. I love you, but I overreacted by disinviting you from my housewarming party. I didn't mean to. I just got a bit scared when you threatened legal action at Adriana's video shoot that day. But again, please forgive me. Now, I was happy to see Julia apologize to Kiki because I was giving Julia a major side eye for disinviting Kiki to her housewarming party, but still inviting Alexia after Alexia made that very ignorant comment about Russian women being prostitutes. And I was confused, like, you can forgive that, but you can't forgive Kiki? But we see them hug it out, and now Kiki is gone, and now it's time for them to talk about Gertie. We learned that Gertie was named Best Wedding and Event Planner of the Year in Brides magazine. So Gertie clarifies, she says, yes, it was an honor, but I wasn't the only wedding planner on the list. There were several others. But we also learned that she was named one of the top 100 global planners, and she's been invited to speak at a panel in Qatar. I loved how Alexia and Marysol's faces looked a bit cracked because say what you want, Gertie knows how to plan an event. So Andy brings up how Gertie's always on the go. He wants to know if she's scaled back or if she's still on the go. So we find out that Gertie has completely restructured her business. She says that she used to plan 15 weddings a year, and now she only takes on 5. I was like, damn, 15 weddings a year, and they're all high-end weddings, all in different cities. So I know she was always on a plane every weekend. I was happy to hear that she has more free time, and when she said that now it's about quality versus quantity. So she shares some pictures of a wedding that she did, and it was, I think, $2 million, and it looked gorgeous. Gertie really seems like a sweetheart because when she was discussing how she was so happy to hear Russell voice his concerns, and she really listened to him and she really took that to heart. And then she goes on to say that without the show, Russell probably wouldn't have spoken up about how he feels, and she's just really grateful that he did speak up. So we learned that she's been having some individual date nights with her boys. She'll take one son out one day and then the other son out, and she's just so happy to have all this family time. I have to say, I really am happy for Gertie. I'm happy that she's found some work-life balance. She seems to be in better spirits, and she really does have the best of both worlds. So now we move on to Adriana versus Alexia and Marysol. Now, I already knew that this segment was about to be a hot mess because the way these ladies left off at the finale, I knew that they were still on bad terms. Now, mind you, they play the montage of their friendship over the years. If you're an OG Miami watcher, you remember when Adriana was getting married to Frederick, and she had Alexia and Marysol as her bridesmaids. So while the montage is playing, Marysol is crying. So now Andy points out Marysol's tears, and Marysol says, I'm crying because that was sad to watch. We used to be great friends. We were in your wedding. We were your bridesmaids. And to see where we are now is sad. The fact that Adriana said such nasty things about us in her confessionals this season really broke my heart. So Marysol brings up what Adriana said about her ex-boyfriend not loving her. And she says, why would you say that? What friend would do that? And I said, Marysol, stop acting like such a victim. You say a lot of hateful things to people as well, and then say, oh, by the way, I'm still your friend. Don't try to act like you don't ever say some really vile things, because you do. I don't have too much sympathy for Marysol. So Adriana says, Marysol, when I said that was me showing you my loyalty, that I'm a great friend. It was coming from a good place. So now Andy interjects and he says, Adriana, let's be real. Telling somebody that their boyfriend never loved them, can you see how Marysol would be offended by that? Can you just understand why that wouldn't land? So Adriana blames it on the champagne. She says that she was on her second bottle of Cristal. She said something stupid and she regrets it.
We drinking strawberry and champagne. Hold on, let me get a strawberry. Let me get a strawberry. I love it. Drop me in my drink.
So now Adriana brings up the fact that she was good friends with Marysol's mom, and she's like, your mom really liked me. That has to count for something. I said, Adriana, stop begging and pleading for Marysol and Alexia's forgiveness and friendship. And you kept doing it throughout this segment. If they have already made up their minds to no longer want anything to do with you, then let it go. I'll be damned if I'm sitting up there begging somebody to be around me, be my friend, be with me in any capacity. It's not happening. And you could see that Marysol was getting so much enjoyment watching you cry and beg, like, enough. So now Andy interjects. He reads a viewer question asking Larsa, why did Larsa feel the need to run back and tell Alexia and Marysol what Adriana was saying about them when they were in the Bahamas? So you have Larsa defending her messy ways, and she says that when it comes to Adriana, you never know what you're gonna get out of her. So now Adriana jumps in and she calls Alexia out. She says, Alexia, for years I would call and text you, asking you to get together for dinner and for lunch, and you would turn me down and be so mean to me. So Alexia says, you want to know why, Adriana? Because you're a fake and you're a fraud. Then she goes on to say that the world knows her to be authentic. I said, we do?
No.
Alexia, please don't speak on the behalf of the people. We do not look at you and see authenticity in the least bit. We think that you're arrogant, delusional, immature, emotionally stunted, rude, but authentic is not the word that the vast majority of us would say about you. Just so we're clear. So Adriana's trying to defend herself. She's like, why are you calling me a fake and a fraud? So now here goes Larsa being Alexia's mouthpiece, and she's like, shut up and let her talk. I said, the same way you guys have been over-talking people this entire reunion, how dare you tell anybody to shut up? So Alexia explains why she called Adriana a fake and a phony, and she says because she owes Leah Black an apology. Back in the day, Leah Black warned her that Adriana was lying and that she and Frederick were already married. Now, Adriana, I have to call you out on that because I remember that season, and it was very weird that she would lie about not being married to Frederick while you guys were actually married. And you guys have been married for like 2 or 3 years. And you could tell that it struck a nerve that Alexia brought that up because Adriana started screaming and Andy was like, Adriana, answer the question. Were you and Frederick already married in 2008 and then decided to get remarried for the show in 2013? And Adriana denied it. But I said, now, Adriana, you're not being honest because I remember that mess, and the whole time you and Frederick were married, but you were pretending like you guys were only engaged and planning this big wedding for the show. That entire situation was beyond strange. And Adriana, you did all that lying for you and Frederick to be divorced. A hot mess. So now they start discussing Adriana's ankle breaking in the Bahamas and how she had to use a wheelchair to get around. And Andy says to Nicole, well, Nicole, since you're a doctor, what did you think about Adriana and her foot injury? So Nicole says, I have to admit, her ankle was bruised. It was apparent that she was in pain, and the resort is huge, so it did make sense as to why she was using a wheelchair to get around. So Julia also co-signs that Adriana's foot was swollen and that she was in pain. It's clear that Larsa, Marysol, and Alexia aren't buying it because they're over there making faces like, girl, stop. Now, of course, Andy brings up the comments that Adriana made regarding Frankie's accident, and Adriana says that she was trying to relate to Alexia. She continues on by saying that she would never speak badly about Frankie, she loves Frankie, and once again, it was only to relate to Alexia, that's it. And here goes Alexia, purposely trying to miss Adriana's point, and she says, but why do you say these things, Adriana? Why do you say them? Let's just break it down together, okay? Did Adriana use a bad analogy? Yes. In this case, I do not believe for a second that she was trying to hurt Frankie and Alexia. It was a poor choice of words She put her foot in her mouth, but for you to act like she was talking about my son, that's not what she was doing, and you know it. I agree that Adriana does speak without thinking, but the same can be said about you, Larsa, and Marysol. You guys have said very vicious and very hateful things about people. So please miss me with acting like you're some victim. I understand that you get triggered and upset because what happened to Frankie is very sad, but let's not twist this and make this into something that it's not. So you have Nicole and Julia defending Adriana. They're like, look, it was a poor choice of words, but Adriana didn't realize what she said, and it was like she was in this weird trance. So now Julia says that they should all have some grace for Adriana because they're all married or coupled up or dating, and Adriana has nobody. And then you have Larsa jumping in talking about that's no excuse. And I said, Larsa, shut up, because you have 1,000,001 excuses for being an asshole 24/7. So now Lisa jumps in and she defends Adriana. And now you have Marysol cutting in and she says that Adriana has always been dark. So now Adriana gets upset and she says, really, Marysol? We've been friends for 12 years and now I've always been dark and evil, really? So now Adriana says that Marysol is unwell, and I have to agree. Anybody who drinks 24/7 the way that Marysol does, I don't think she's that happy or that well either. And that's no shade. But when your whole entire personality is about drinking, I think we might have a problem. So here's where I screamed. Adriana says that she received a letter talking about Marysol. So Andy reads the letter, and when I tell you, I was like, what is going on? The letter reads, Dear Adriana, I've known Marysol for a long time. She's out here abusing me every day. I hate it. I'm scared for my life. So while Andy's reading this, Marysol's face is shook. And I was like, let me find out that Marysol's out here doing some crazy stuff behind the scenes. So Andy finishes reading the letter and they all want to know who wrote this. So it's signed, Love Marysol's Liver.
You know what? This is too much.
When I tell you that everybody was so confused, Andy was like, Adriana, really? You really wrote this letter yourself and signed it, Marysol's Liver? Alexia says that Adriana needs help. Then Adriana says that Marysol needs to curb her drinking. Then here goes Larsa. Who is anybody to judge? Why are you judging her drinking? I said again, Larsa, be quiet. The same way that you judge other people, you sat up there and judged Nicole and Anthony for having their child before being married. So again, you are the last person to talk about anybody being judgmental. So at this point, Andy can already tell that nothing is going to be resolved with Adriana, Alexia, and Marysol. So he's like, let's move on. So we change gears in the conversation, and Andy brings up the fact that both of Alexia's sons are dependent on her. And Andy wants to know if it's a Cuban thing with them being so attached to their children. So they all say that, yes, it is because of that. Marysol says that her mom used to text her all the time, like 30 times a day. And Nicole says that her mom even does the same thing. She'll text her when she goes to work, like, hey, where are you? Are you safe? So now they start discussing Frankie and the DeMoya Foundation. So she goes on to say that she's super thankful because of Bravo, because that's how the DeMoya Foundation got in touch with her. So Andy brings up the fact that he was emotional hearing Frankie say that he's too scared to get in an Uber by himself. And now Alexia starts sobbing, and she brings up how upset she got hearing Adriana complain about her life because her son will never be able to be independent. So while Alexia's crying, Gertie's asking her if she's ever considered getting therapy, and Alexia says no. So now Andy jumps in and says that he thinks Alexia could really benefit from therapy. He's like, you're carrying too much, let it go. And I 100% agree. I think that Alexia would be a lot nicer, a lot calmer, a lot sweeter if she took herself and got some help. There is no shame in seeking therapy or going for some counseling. Do not feel bad about it. You are not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. We all need to get it out sometimes. Life can be a lot. I don't care how good your life is, it can still be a lot at times. And there is nothing better than fleshing your thoughts out, having a trusted professional listen to you and give you solutions. I mean, it is a grade A feeling. I can't say it enough. Alexia, please stop trying to be Superwoman and bottling all your emotions and go and get some help. That's probably why you lash out at people now, because you have a lot stored up in here. Go and see somebody. And of course, Andy brings up Peter. He's like, we all saw that Peter's girlfriend calls it quits. You have Alexia saying, thank God. I said, girl, please stop acting like your son is some prize, because he's not. He's rude, he's insufferable, he's immature, and doesn't take accountability for anything. She did herself a favor by leaving him. And I still don't believe that story that you're trying to sell us about what really happened that night with Peter and his ex-girlfriend. I think that you are covering up for him like you always do. So now Andy wants to know, how did Alexia feel hearing that Peter wanted to leave the country and that he was angry at her? So Alexia says that she started crying because she had no idea that he felt that way, and the fact that he wanted to leave the country, she knew that it was a bad sign. So now Adriana jumps in and she says that she felt bad for Alexia watching that, and then she goes on to say that while the world passed judgment on Peter about that whole domestic violence situation last year, she didn't pass judgment. She was on Peter and Alexia's side. So she goes on to say that she loves Alexia, she respects Alexia, and she's like, Alexia, can you and Marysol just forgive me? I love you guys. I want to be friends again. So Adriana starts sobbing at this point. And once again, Adriana, please don't ever be so desperate where you are begging people to be your friend. If people want to leave, let them leave. I'm not going to ever beg somebody to stay in my life if they want to go. I was like, Mama, have some pride. I had secondhand embarrassment. At your big age, begging these two clowns for their friendship? Absolutely not. So at this point, we only have a few minutes left of this reunion, and Andy says, Adriana, Marysol, and Alexia, can you guys say one nice thing about each other? So Adriana tells Marysol that she respects her strength. Then she tells Alexia that she respects Alexia as a mother. And she says that she loves Alexia. And then Alexia says to Adriana that she loves Adriana's music and that Adriana has a beautiful life, but Adriana has to see it for herself. And then Marysol tells Adriana that she's a very lucky woman. So at this point, the three of them, I guess, are on a better path to being friends again. So now Gertie interjects and she says, now, since the three of you guys are okay, can we get Larsa and Nicole on the same page? Now, I said, Gertie, I love you and all, but absolutely not. This woman said such disgusting things about Nicole last season and this season. The fact that she could have destroyed Nicole's career with that disgusting rumor, Larsa could never speak to me again. I would pay Larsa dust going forward. And when Larsa said, I mean, yeah, we should get along, we should be friends, I already apologized for what I said. Girl, giving a half-assed apology is not an apology. And Nicole, I hate the way you are so eager to forgive these women. I would have told Larsa, keep it. Me and you are not cool. We're not friends. It's not going to happen. You stay over there. I'm going to be over here. Leave me alone. The same woman who just a few hours ago told you that you don't have a real job and you're a whole doctor, me and Larsa could never speak. So we end the reunion with Andy asking all the ladies what was the highlight for them this season. Larsa says that she felt good, she loosened up this season, and she's dating somebody she cares about, she's in charge of her own destiny, and she's happy. Alexia says that the highlight for her this season was seeing her son, Frankie, getting involved with the Demoya Foundation and realizing that he has potential. Gertie says that the highlight for her was recognizing her blind spot and spending more time at home with her family, and now she's a true housewife. Julia says that while it sucks about Martina having cancer, it does put things in perspective, and she realizes that life is short and to count your blessings. Nicole says that the highlight for her this season was starting this journey with her dad and seeing him in a different light and repairing their relationship. And Lisa says that her highlight was, even though it sucks going through a divorce, she's happy that she found out who Lenny really was now versus 10 years later when she's older. They close it out with some Bahama Mamas, take their selfie with Andy, and that's where the reunion ends. Once again, I was thoroughly entertained. This is how you do a season, and this is how you do a reunion. Miami, you guys get an A. Y'all ate and left no crumbs. Everybody understood the assignment. Miami was a pleasure to watch and review. I hope you guys enjoyed my recaps, and I will see you all now for the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip on Peacock as well. But once again, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.